Welcome to this episode of She's All Books. Come and hang out for book reviews, bookish content, and nostalgic vibes. I hope you enjoy this episode.
Books. Here with me today is P.L. Hernandez, indie author and writer of 27. She also goes by Patty. Patty, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Yes, I dove into your book, 27, a few weeks ago when you popped up on my Instagram, and I was looking for a novel to read. And I was looking for something that had the same vibe as a few other books that I was like really into. And it's like that epic love story. You just like get sucked into it. And I also am a major sucker for a book that has a playlist. So instantly I went to Spotify and I just started listening to the playlist. Well, first I browsed it and I was like, oh yes, this playlist goes with this book. That is for me.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited to be able to chat with you and talk about your books and you. Thank you.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump in. I like to set the tone with a nostalgic vibe using a paper fortune teller, which a lot of people like to tell me is actually supposed to be called a cootie catcher. Patty, did you call it a cootie catcher or did you call it a paper fortune teller?
I never called it anything. I am familiar. But I don't. I think I would call it like the triangle thing.
Yes.
Because I didn't know how to make them. I feel like when you know how to make them, you know how to name them. You know what I mean? But I've never heard it called a cootie catcher. I think I have heard paper fortune teller though.
So you're not going to be offended if I call it a paper fortune teller.
Oh no, I think you're frozen.
Right. So I think I just lost you a little bit.
Yeah, you froze.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. As you were saying, you're not.
Okay, you froze too. So I think we're both like having a connection thing. Okay. The good news is it's recording yours to your cloud and mine to my cloud, and it merges them. Good. I'll cut this part out, but we should be fine.
Okay.
If it keeps happening though, that's annoying. All right. So to set the nostalgic vibe, I have my handy dandy paper fortune teller, and on it I have 4 colors written. Inside I have 8 numbers, and then under each number I have a question that corresponds with the number for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, your color options are green, blue, orange, or pink. Ooh, we can see them today.
Let me go with green.
Green, awesome. All right, GREEN. Your number options are 1, 2, 5, and 6.
Let's go with 6.
6. All right. Whoops. I gotta use the pen or else I'm gonna forget which numbers we've done. Okay. Question number 6. What is your approach when you're writing a new book?
I wish I could say I had like a very organized approach. I absolutely do not. For me, it starts with a good idea or what I think is a good idea. And then I start to kind of flesh out a couple of main characters just so that I feel like I know their personality. And then I have a general idea of where I want to start and where I want to end. And everything that happens in between is a surprise to me.
That's awesome.
So I sit down and I just start writing and I just follow the vibes. I write really late at night. I'm like a midnight writer. So I write late at night and I know, a couple of like main things I want to hit for the plot, right? To move it along. But otherwise I just follow the vibes and hope it turns out okay.
I love it. So like you like to write at night and I like to read late at night. So we're kind of the same. No wonder I love your book. All right. So next question. Same color options, blue, green, pink, or orange?
Let's go blue.
Blue. BLUE. I almost just gave it 2 E's. That's weird. Okay. 1, 2, 5, 6 again, but no question number 6.
Let's do 2.
Okay. Question number 2. What led you on this journey of being an author?
You know what? It was always like on my life's to-do list, right? I've always been a writer since I was a little girl. Poetry, short stories, really everything, right? Like manifestos. I used to call them mini manifestos. I would just like write these long essays just about, my own philosophies of life.
I
Um,
love that.
when I sat down to write a short story, and when it got to like 130 pages, my husband looked over to me and he was like, "Girl, you got to stop calling that a short story. Like, that's not a short story anymore."
No. Wait, is that for
Um,
27?
yeah, yeah.
That was over 400 pages. Oh my goodness.
Fit that into a short story.
Yeah.
And so I just kept writing. I was doing it for myself, and I always envisioned publishing a book of poetry, because poetry was like my main bag, right? That was like the thing I
Right.
wrote the most often. And a friend of mine read 27 and said, like, "You have to put this out. You have to put this out. This is going to make people feel seen in a way that like not a lot of people are seen,
Right.
and it's a good story." And I was like, I don't know if I can pull that off, you know what I mean? I was going to put out a book of poetry, and my friend was like, no, put this one out, do the poetry book later.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how, it started out as like a little therapy project for myself, and here we are. So
That is awesome. Very cool. Reading it, it just felt so like it reads really just naturally. It was like with it being 400 pages, I have like diagnosed ADHD, and like usually I'm like, okay, 400 pages. I can do this. I can do this. I had no problem like being sucked in and just read so smooth. So the fact that you started this off as a short story
I
like
know I
amazes
lost
me
you
because it just
again.
felt so like it read so naturally. So
Thank
that's
you. I
awesome. Thanks for sharing that
appreciate
with
that
me.
so much. I'm not a huge reader. I'm a
Okay.
big movie buff, right? So
Yes.
what I feel like when I write a lot of dialogue, because I feel like if I'm reading, I
Yes.
like to read dialogue because I feel like it moves it moves things along a
Me
little
too.
quicker. So sometimes I would be writing and I would be like, is this too much dialogue? Do I need to
No.
throw in some? So I appreciate that. I'm glad it reads like smoothly.
And that now that you say that, that's probably one of the reasons why I gravitated towards it and like didn't want to put it down is I love dialogue. I love banter, but I like probably from all of like the teen movies I watched and all the shows I was into, like I love
Mhm.
that conversation piece. I like the inner dialogue too. I love when character like you can get into that character's brain and really like try to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I love dialogue. So now that you mentioned that, that makes sense for part of why I just like absolutely devoured it. Awesome. Okay, so next question. Orange, pink, green, blue.
Let's go orange.
Okay. Orange. Orange. And an 8. You get different number options this time.
Oh, we got to go 7. I just picked 2, so now we have to go 7.
Yes, absolutely. 27. Okay. All right, question number 7. For those viewers who are watching this episode that have not yet read 27, would you share, without spoiling, any tropes that stood out to you from this book, like the main tropes with them?
Yeah, I feel like I have to hold it up because I'm like giving a little pitch for it. So
Yes. It's
here
not
we
as
go.
exciting when I hold it up on my Kindle.
Oh, this is my copy's all like I sprayed the edges on it. I'm like, this is the one I carry around with me.
Did you do it yourself?
Yeah. It's Black Hearts, like Black Heart
Yes.
Sunday. Yeah. Um.
Yes.
So overall, 27. The main trope is it's a trope about self-discovery, right? And I feel like when you have a self-discovery trope, so many other things can go in there, right? We've got a love triangle, we've got I think I would say like that's the second biggest one is the love triangle. I've heard people say a little bit of miscommunication. I don't think it's like super, it's not like it's not too involved, the miscommunication. It's very minor, I think. Though I love a good miscommunication trope. But
Yeah.
I would say it's, it's a self-discovery journey. And anyone who is either in the middle of self-discovery journey or has been in one will tell you that a self-discovery will take you down every single trope that there is almost, right? But I would say, found family, love triangle, mental health awareness, brother's best friend, I know is a trope, second chance romance. So there's a lot of them. Yeah.
So many of those tropes you just listed, I'm like, yes, yes, absolutely. There's something in it for everybody's trope preference for sure. And I think that that's why it's also so relatable. Like, not only is it self-discovery, which you can relate to even if you've been through your own self-discovery, but so much of that, like, people go through, and those tropes people can relate to in some way or another, or just prefer to read. So that the book does have a lot of tropes in it. Right.
All right. I
Pink.
think Pink's the one we have left.
All right, there we
One I
go.
haven't done.
PINK. Your question or number options are 3, 4, 7, and 8, but not 7.
Let's go 4.
Okay. Question number 4. Okay. You just answered 7, and it's kind of similar to 4, so I'm going to switch it up just a teeny bit. I'm going to word this as best I can without spoilers.
Without spoilers.
Yes. So in 27, we have a lot of different characters, side characters. We have the love triangle. Without spoiling anything, could you share with us a little bit about the project you're working on right now?
Yes. So the project I'm working on right now is called Songs We Fell in Love To. And I'm hoping to get it out before the end of the year. Ideally in the fall if I can get it together, right? And it is similar in that it's a journey of self-discovery. We've got a little bit of a love triangle, and it takes place, I think, at an earlier part of your 20s, right?
Okay.
So the main character in Songs We Fell in Love To is she's finishing grad school. And unlike Jax, the main character in 27, who kind of has her set career, has like a really like strong sense of herself and like almost an obnoxious like self-righteousness about like the passion for her life and her career and her path. Francie, who's the main character in Songs We Fell in Love To, is kind of still sorting all of that out. So she's like in an earlier place in her self-discovery journey. She meets a guy in a coffee shop, and he is a side character from 27. So they exist in the same universe. Songs We Fell in Love To happens about a year before the events of 27.
Okay.
For anyone who has read 27, that side character is Garrett Henley.
Okay.
And he is a main character in Songs We Fell in Love To. My main character meets him in a coffee shop, and they have a very like fast, intense love spark between them, like relationship. And through the process of her kind of like, going through the journey of that new relationship, she is kind of in her mind reliving the last serious relationship that she had. So it's a dual timeline.
Okay.
And it tells the story of both of those relationships.
Oh my gosh, I'm already
with
obsessed.
with her past love, who is still in her life as a very good friend, and with this new relationship. And in the current timeline, those two guys have a chance to have like those tense moments that I really love in a love triangle.
Yes.
Because they're in each other's space. And yeah, so it kind of tells that dual timeline of those two love stories kind of being told in parallel until she kind of gets to the end and has to make a decision about what's a better fit for her life, who's a better fit for her life, and how she wants to like proceed with the rest of her 20s.
That is amazing. I already know I'm going to love it. I love when a book is set in college, like any part of college, grad school, any of that. I love the back and forth, even though I don't know how you all write that. Like how to go back and forth with just like is hard. It would be hard for me to write in two different like time.
I tried
periods.
to do two chapters, right? Like
Okay.
3. I tried to like even it out that way. The past timeline spans from when she's about 10 through her finishing undergrad.
Okay.
So so it spans a good chunk of time, but that's what I tried to do. I would try and just even it out so that I wasn't giving too much, preference to one love story over the other. But it is hard to keep track. You have to have like a
Yes,
solid timeline written down so
yes.
you know what you're
I
doing.
love reading those. I love reading those. I just can't imagine how challenging that could be possibly to write. Um, awesome. Thank you for sharing that with me. I just forgot though what question number that was 6, right?
I think it was 6. No,
Yes.
4. It was 4.
Oh, it was 4. Okay. All right, I did write that down. I'm like, I'm blanking, and I know I switched it last minute on here, so that's why. Okay.
Oh, I
Well,
also want to
good.
say they exist in the same universe. So if you're a fan of 27 or like you don't have to read 27 to understand the other one, right?
Right. Right.
But
So it can be
it'll be
read
a lot
alone.
more fun. There's lots of Easter eggs. These two main characters grew up in the same community, but just in different towns. So like in the same area, but different towns. So there are crossover references that will be super fun to read if you've already read 27.
Oh, good. That makes me very excited. I would read it even without that. Um, but that's exciting because like I have a hard time letting go of characters, and I never want the books to end, and I want them to
Yeah.
be turned all into like 8-part series.
Yeah.
I know that that's not ideal for an
Yeah.
author. So I love when I get to read a book, even if it is like this, with like you're pulling in a side character, but I still get to get little pieces of
Yeah.
the first book. So I'm excited.
Well, like
That's
I
good.
said, I'm a movie girly, so I learned my storytelling from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
tie all of these things in.
I love it. I love it. That is perfect. All right. Blue, green, orange, or pink?
Okay, I was like, I'm gonna start again in the same order, but I'm not gonna do that. Let's go with blue.
Blue. Meanwhile, I can't remember what the last question was. Okay. BLUE. We have questions or numbers 3, 4, 7, and 8.
Let's go 8.
8. All right. Question number 8. Okay, so this is a new question that I've entered in to my game.
Okay.
And I feel like it might be a little challenging. I don't know, maybe not. So we can totally skip to a different question if we need to.
Okay.
And you're a movie person, actually, so this is going to be like very probably fun for you. For 27,
Yeah.
if this were to turn into a movie, who would you want to play the main characters in this book?
Oh, girl, I've
Okay,
already
good. I'm
thought of
so
this.
excited.
So,
I'm testing this out with you. Good. Okay.
what is her name? She was in that movie Purple Heart. She was in Descendants.
Oh,
Do you know what I'm
um,
talking about? I'm gonna look her up because I know exactly, but I just never
yes.
remember her name. Um, I always picture her as as Jax. Let me see.
Ooh, I'm
Purple.
dying to see who this is.
Sophia
Yeah,
Carson.
who is it?
Sophia Carson.
Sophia Carson. Oh, yes. Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
She's so beautiful. Yes.
Yes,
I
yeah.
could
And
totally
I
see that.
feel like she has like a little bit of an edge to her. Like she's a little bit rock and
Yes.
roll, but she also cleans
Yes.
up really nicely. Like yeah, especially when
She'd
I
be
saw
great.
Purple Hearts, she was like a performer. She was a singer. I don't know if you ever saw that, but
Yes.
so she had a lot of like leather jackets, jeans, like she had kind of like a lot of that style and I was like, yes,
Yeah,
that's Jax.
that is
100%.
awesome. Perfect. Okay, who would you choose to cast your other ones?
The other characters in 27. Let's see.
Yes.
I think I
The main
have
one.
like I go back and forth with the boys. But I will say that for Carter, it's like Liam Hemsworth. Like
Yes.
a very
Yes.
specific Liam Hemsworth. Like
I
they
think
did
he's my favorite of the Hemsworths to look at, personally.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
same. But there was this photo shoot of Liam Hemsworth that he did in like an old truck, and he was wearing like a plaid shirt, and it
Yes.
gave this like the biggest Carter country
Harder.
boy, let me
Definitely.
take you to the creek kind of
Yes.
vibes.
Yes. I can
Um,
see it.
Yeah.
Now I need to reread it with these people in mind.
Yeah. He's tall, like you can kind of just see him. He also has kind of like, he looks like he thinks he knows what's best for you. Like he's just got
Yes.
kind of that look about
100%.
him.
Yes.
And Finn is really hard to cast because, there's no Finn. There's no one like Finn, but Finn is I would say it's hard, because it's hard to find a curly-haired, like dark British guy,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Finn is really kind of like an amalgam of lead singers of British pop rock,
Yes,
that
rock. Like I
feel,
can see it exactly,
1975,
like in a
Oasis,
band.
right?
Yes.
Like, he's charming. He's a little skeevy as well, right? So you're not sure if you can trust him. But when I saw when I watched that show that they did for Daisy Jones and the Six, they had one of the guys in the band. He's got curly hair. He's got brown eyes. He wasn't one of the main band members, but he was in a Netflix movie with Vanessa Hudgens where he played
Okay.
a knight. He'd come from
I've
like,
seen that one.
you know what I'm
Yes.
talking about?
Yes.
Let me see. I will look up his name. It is. Oh, it's Josh Whitehouse.
I didn't know what his name was, but I do remember that character. Yes.
Yeah, he plays like the band member that's like always in a bad mood. He doesn't like the main guy.
Exactly. Yes.
He has that like good solid head of really curly hair.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes. Okay.
and I think he's got brown eyes. Or
He does.
um Ben, oh my gosh, his name is going to escape me. He played Prince Caspian. And he just played in that show Bones and something or other. I saw him singing and I was like, "Oh, is that Finley?" You know what I mean? Let me see. Prince Caspian. Ben Barnes.
I'm looking him up. I can add their pictures to this.
Yeah.
So that the folks watching will be like, "Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like him better."
Yeah, Ben Barnes. I saw him. I guess he
Okay.
sings, right? I saw like a video of him singing, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "That's him."
100%.
I
Absolutely.
love Ben Barnes. The friends, I would say, Lizzie in my mind was like Anna Kendrick, right?
Yes.
And
She seems like she'd be so fun to be friends with in person.
yes, yeah. Cindy I didn't have anyone in mind for Cindy, but I think like a good fit for Cindy would be like Sydney Sweeney.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
beautiful, like blonde bombshell, right?
Yes. Like just
Right.
naturally gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for the brother, I always had in my mind for the brother from Bring It On.
Oh, the one that she falls for, right? You're talking
Yeah.
about what
Yeah.
is his name in real life? I know exactly what you're talking. He has dark hair. Oh.
Yeah. And I
Like
loved
that.
him when I was younger. I had
Yeah,
such a
me too.
crush on him in Bring It On.
There's my best friend's brother trope.
And he aged so well. You know what I mean? He's so handsome. Jesse Bradford.
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah. He's a good one. I haven't seen him in anything recently. I'm gonna have to look him up.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Well, now we just have to like manifest this for you. It'll one day be on screen, and you, the movie buff, can just watch it on TV.
I would be so
We'll start
excited.
manifesting. Yeah,
I'm going to manifest it, yes.
exactly. And all of those characters will sign up to be on it. Great. Okay. Thanks for entertaining me with that. I think that could be probably a hard one to answer, but this is perfect. All
Yeah.
right. Pink, green, or blue?
Let's go back to orange.
Orange, okay. ORANGE. 3, 4, 7, or 8, but the only one you haven't asked or answered yet is 3.
Okay, let's go with 3.
Okay. Question number 3 is, for viewers who have not read your book, 27, what do you hope they feel when they read it? Or what do you hope that they get from reading 27?
That's hard to answer. I think 27 is like you said, it's got a little bit of something for everybody, but I
Yes.
hope they just feel like it's relatable. I think that Jax, whether it's the things she's going through herself or like some of the experiences she's having with her friends, or even like the kind of the way the epilogue ends, right? It kind of gives you this sense of like every woman, or every person really, but every woman has this like experience of having this really like transitional time in their lives, like right as they're on the cusp of their 30s, and just being like, how am I going to figure any of this out? You know what I mean? And so I hope, whether it's kind of her journey to like figure out her mental health, figure out how to take care of herself, whether it's figuring out how to be a, you know, a more active part of her relationships and not, you know, such a jerk, such a like absentee sister, daughter, friend, whether it's figuring out that balance of like career and life, just that people who read it feel like a little bit seen with some of the ways that they've had to figure out their own life.
Yes.
Part of my dedication is just like, if you've ever felt lost, like I wrote this for you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that's really what it's about. It's just about like a moment in your life where you've maybe felt more lost than you ever have before, and how you come, you know, and the journey of coming out on the other side of that, and just being like, oh, okay, I don't have it all figured out, but I've got a lot of it figured out, and I know I'm going to be okay.
Exactly. I think that what the reader gets out of this book is just dependent upon like where they are in their life. Like for me,
Yeah.
reading it in my mid 30s, it was like a very nostalgic, almost like relatable, like flashback read. I felt like
Mhm.
I could connect my younger self to it. So I think it's just going to depend on like where you are in that journey, or in your journey, I should say,
Yeah.
for sure. But there's a lot of, it's like comforting. It's like, it's okay. You got this.
It's
It'll
gonna
be
be
fine.
okay. Yeah, it's gonna,
Yeah.
and I you know, I know for me, like most people, but definitely for me, I was a mess when I was 27, right? But it
Yes.
seemed like I had it all figured out. Like I was finishing grad school. I was, you know, kind of on the cusp of my career, and like from the outside looking in, I seem like a very, just very well put together, you know, determined person,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then just internally I was a mess. And it was like, you know, it was exactly that, just kind of like trying to figure out like, okay, I've ticked these boxes off my to-do list, right? Like
Right.
successful career, you know,
Right.
good how, you know, makes good money, you know,
Yeah.
all these things, like exactly how Jax describes in the beginning. I have all these things, I'm checking them off.
Yes.
But then like she needed to go and work on the other stuff, right? Like work on the inside, not just this list of things that
Right.
she thought she had to accomplish in her life, and she did them
Right.
really early, and then she was like, "Ooh," you know.
Right. Exactly. That's awesome. I think it could be for younger women reading this book, or younger individuals in general reading this book. I think it could be a good reminder of that. Like, it's okay for you to like focus on your own personal inner growth, almost like,
Yeah,
versus like everything having to be like outwardly perfect. Like all
yeah,
of those, not to say they're surface or like superficial, because they're not. Like, they're part of like who you are and being,
for sure.
and success and everything. But take a moment and like focus on those other things that can like really impact your happiness. So
Yeah. Like Jax
it,
has this moment, I don't want to give like too much away, but Jax has this moment in the book where she says something along the lines of like, if this career, you know, if this life, if this is all I'm ever going to have, I better, you know, it better be good. It better be good, right?
yes,
And I think what she was missing is that that's not all you ever have. You know, you have these relationships, the way you interact with people, the way you impact people, and the way you allow them to impact you. And that it really, I think, you know, what you find in your 30s or your 40s, right, is that those are really the things that are more defining.
yes,
Certainly what you do career wise, the way you impact the world, that's important. But like, further down in your life, the way that you relate to other people, and like the way that you navigate those relationships, I think are the things that have the biggest impact on you later in life.
Yes, I agree. I think that in that part of the book, I remember exactly what you're talking about. And it is like a very awakening part, I guess, like would be a way that I would describe it. Like she has a moment of awakening in the book, or multiple, kind of more than it happens over. Yes. I'm like trying so hard not to like say or spoil anything. But yeah, so it's great. Like for any, my point is, as I ramble, any stage you're at, you're going to find some piece of this book that you can really relate to or really learn from.
Truly.
All right. We have 2 more left.
All right. Let's do this. Let's see.
Orange, pink, green, or blue?
Let's go back to blue.
Blue. Okay.
Yeah.
BLUE. We're going to pretend it landed on this one because you've already answered all of those. We have 1, 2, 5, and 6. So it is 1 or 5.
Let's go with 5.
Question number 5. All right. So since you shared with me earlier, sorry, allergies, that you're not a huge reader, we can apply this to movies or shows. But what genres or tropes do you tend to gravitate towards when you are reading or watching a story?
Yeah, I mean, even whether it's reading, whether it's movies, shows, I will come back over and over for the rest of my life to a love triangle. I love a good love triangle. I think the love triangles I enjoy most are the ones where there's no clear winner, right? There's no one that's bad, or good. It's more about who's a better fit, and so it then is like an extension of the growth journey.
Yes.
I love a good love triangle. Give me a love triangle every day of the week. I love miscommunication tropes. And I didn't know, because I'm not a big reader, I didn't know that people didn't like miscommunication.
I used to be like, no. And now I'm like, give me all of the miscommunication tropes.
I think it just depends how you do it, honestly. I think that in order for it to be a good, satisfying, personally, I love the anxiety, right? Like I love this like sense of being on the edge of my seat about the miscommunication. But I think it's most satisfying when, again, the miscommunication is just an extension of the growth, right? So when the miscommunication is something that is a simple conversation and it could be solved, everything could be solved by a simple conversation.
Yes.
Then it gets frustrating. But when the miscommunication runs deep, either because they're, the characters are young, they're in their 20s, they're in high school, they're like early, college, and they're still learning how to communicate in relationships, then that's part of the growth journey, right? When it runs deep down into how they were raised, or maybe some of their own issues that they haven't sorted out yet, then that becomes an extension of the self-growth journey. And it can make for really interesting and sometimes like super heartbreaking dynamics. Like the miscommunication used in that way is a big part of the book I'm working on, and just kind of like exploring, like, how do we figure this out? We need to figure ourselves out as well, right? Because some of this miscommunication is inherited, some of it's that we're young, some of it's that we're afraid, and some of it's been inherited, right? And just untangling all that. So miscommunication, a love triangle. And I don't know that I don't write this at all. I don't know that I could, but I love a good enemies to lovers.
I was just about to say, we are the same. I don't love enemies to lovers. I will read it. I'll read it. It's not my most favorite trope, but you've sold me at the love triangle and miscommunication for sure. Especially if you can add in a little bit of groveling in there, then I'm like a donezo.
Again, it's like, I think it depends how it's done.
Yes.
I feel like for Finn and Jax, there's a little bit of enemies.
There is, but it's done well. So, like, I don't love when it's like almost like a forced enemy. It's like, I don't know how to describe it in my mind. Like,
I know exactly.
Sometimes enemies to lovers is just too forced. The enemy part of it's too forced for me, I think.
I can't deal with it if the enemy has ever done anything so grossly disrespectful that it would piss me off if the main character forgave that, right?
Right.
But this like kind of like not like natural nemesis, or like that natural tension that comes from competition, or
Yes.
you know what I mean, like being in different friend groups or stuff like that, where you could, there's like almost like a mutual respect there, and like a passionate hatred. I think it's really easy
Yeah.
for that passionate hatred to
Yeah.
go the other direction.
Yes.
As long as one of them hasn't done anything to just be like horribly disrespectful or awful to the other one, you know what I mean?
Sidebar. I know that you've read Life in November. I'm thinking of like the love triangle miscommunication trope, even though love triangle wasn't in that book. But have you read When We Were by Diana Elliott Graham?
I have not.
Okay, you should add it to your TBR
Okay.
list because I feel like you would 100% love it. And if you ever read it, can you please let me know?
Yes, yeah, I will. I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna say, had I read Haley's other books, the like Lost Girl,
Oh yeah, yeah, yes,
Rich
yes,
Girl, Lost Girl. I just read
yes,
those because I had Haley on Alive
yes.
when she published Found Girl, and I was like, that Haley and I had so many voice memo conversations talking about a love triangle done really well and an enemies to lovers. Like I feel like her writing
Okay.
style is a lot like mine, so we had a lot of like really juicy conversation about those
Yes.
kinds of tropes. But yeah, what's the other one called?
When We Were, and it's by Diana Elliott Graham, which is how I found Life in November, which is how I found you.
Oh, it's a
All
circle. Yeah,
connect. Yes,
yeah.
it's a circle.
I'll have to write it down.
And it I don't want to like spoil anything, but it checks almost every box that you and I have just chatted about. So I think you would love
Yeah.
it. Awesome. So I can't like I'm just like now like this is the impatient part of me where I'm just like, all right, so how many days until your book releases? Which is not good. I'm not rushing. I'm not rushing you. Okay. Blue, green, orange, and pink.
Let's go back to green.
Green. Okay. GREEN. And your options are really only question number 5. Wait, 1. Question
No, we
number
did.
1.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say we did 5. Okay, let's do 1.
One's the last one, which is a question I like to ask everybody. And I feel like you have an advantage because you have a playlist to 27.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
if you had to choose one song that you feel like, or it doesn't have to be just one, but we'll go with one song, to you represents 27, what would that song be?
Oh my God.
And it doesn't have to just be one, because I feel like that's really hard with this book.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. I feel like the one, I don't know if it's the one that really like describes it the best, but the one I listened to over and over again while I was writing was Dandelion.
Oh.
It's on the playlist. I don't remember who sings
Yes.
it, but it's on the playlist. And it just felt like this is so weird, but hopefully you can relate. It just kind of like I listened to it, like close my eyes, and it just kind of like it felt how the book was supposed to feel. You know what I
That's on
mean?
by
Just
Ruth
like,
D, I think, on your playlist.
yes,
Is that right?
yeah.
Yes.
I would say the other one is probably, I would say one of the other ones. It's like it's strange because it's like there's so much that goes on.
Yes.
It's almost like by the way, I hope you didn't shuffle it. That playlist is meant to be listened to
No, I
in
didn't.
order.
I
Okay.
listened to it in order. I always listen to them in order, assuming an author wants me to listen to them in
Yeah.
order.
That order, like that playlist follows Jax's emotions from the
Yes.
first page to the last, right? But I think if I had to choose one other, I would probably choose the SZA song that's on there, which is Good Day, because I feel like there's a lot of like self-reflection that goes on in that song. And it's another one I listen to kind of a lot. Again, like the music, when I would just listen to the music, it just sounded like the vibe, you know, how this was supposed to feel. Like the feeling I got listening to the song was like the feeling I wanted to give somebody who was reading the book. That makes sense.
Absolutely. Yes. I think you're very successful with that. I loved the
Thank
playlist and I
you.
loved listening to it while I read the book. So that's a plug. If you're watching this and you love books with playlists, you will love this. All right. Thank you for playing Paper Fortune Teller with me. That was a lot of fun. I loved to
Thank
get
you
to
so
listen to
much.
your take on I mean, you are the writer of the book, so listening to how you share details about the book is always just so entertaining for me. So thank you for sharing all of those fun details with me and the viewers. That was fun. And thanks for doing it with the 90s vibe with
Thank you
me.
for reading
All
it.
right.
I'm so glad, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And everybody go out and read it now.
Now everyone has to go read it. I need to post my review for it. I'm a little bit behind, but I will post it very soon. It's a 5-star glowing review.
Thank you.
So I'll get that up very soon to try to really put the cherry on top of anyone watching this. You got to go read it. Okay, so you've gotten to the time where you get to pick one nostalgic game that's going to have a bookish twist to it. And your
Okay.
3 options are Truth or Dare, Never Have I Ever, or MASH. And we will do bookish spins to them, so don't be too scared.
Oh, we're doing MASH. I love MASH is my favorite.
Perfect.
It's gotta
MASH
be
is
MASH.
my favorite too.
Yeah.
I get very excited when somebody chooses MASH. I just needed one of these pieces of paper.
Fun fact about MASH. I have younger nieces, and I was telling them about MASH, and I was like playing it with them.
Yes. It's like you have to play MASH.
It was, yeah, it's the most fun. It's the most fun.
Yeah. I love playing MASH. Absolutely. Okay, so for those of you watching, if this is your first time watching one of my episodes, or if you've never played MASH, MASH is a fun, like, schoolyard game. I don't know what they call it, but I would play it in school when I was young, like in elementary school. And MASH, MASH, stands for mansion, apartment, shack, house.
Yes.
And then I'm going to have Patty choose 2 for each of the different categories. We have husband or book boyfriend, whichever one you want to do, career, kid number, and tropes.
Okay.
The first one is husband / book boyfriend, or wife and book girlfriend. I just go off of what was happening in elementary school at the time, but whichever you prefer.
Okay. Can I do some of my own book characters? Okay.
Of course,
So
yes.
for husbands, let's do Finn and Carter. Okay. And wait, how many do we need?
2. So Finn and Carter. Did you want to
Finn
do
and
a third?
Let's do a third.
Okay.
And let's do Jason.
Jason. All right.
Was her boyfriend in the beginning of the book.
Yes. And I will do Ethan from Life in November. I'm being nice to you. Okay. Okay. Career.
Photographer.
Okay.
Music journalist. And veterinarian and school
And we
teacher.
have to choose the 4th. Okay.
Oh, sorry. You're choosing the 4th. Okay.
Sorry, then my allergies. Okay. I will choose, I'm going to stick with the Ethan tropes, and I'll do national football soccer player. Or national, professional. Gosh. Okay, now it is number of kids.
0 and 2. You pick the other 2.
I'm just going to do 1 or 5. Okay. I feel like when I was a kid, I would do like 20 and like, I don't know why.
I always did 0 or 1.
Okay. No, 0. No, I mean, like, if I was one choosing for the other person, I'm like 20. Oh. Okay. Tropes. You can pick 3 tropes.
Let's do love triangle and second chance romance. You pick the other 2.
I'm going to continue the miscommunication trope that we both love. And then just to really switch it up to something we haven't even talked about, I'm going to choose single dad. Just love that. Keep it interesting. Okay. Okay, so I have all of it filled in. So now this next part of MASH, for those of you who haven't played, is I'm going to start drawing a spiral, and Patty is going to tell me when to stop, and then I'll count all of the lines that intersect, or all the different squiggles, and I'll start to narrow it down to our husband. Okay, so I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Okay, stop.
All right, so I have One. All right, I'm going to start counting and crossing every eighth thing. This is where I need to put like elevator music or something, or just like chat. Because I'm really bad at
Frozen.
talking and counting. That's
Okay.
so funny. Not Ethan. That's so sad. Okay. Sorry, Haley.
Sorry, Haley.
Not a mansion.
Oh no, not a mansion.
They will have kids because we just cross out 0. I also need to like
Oh.
put the camera like on what I'm doing. That would probably be more entertaining for folks.
Oh my gosh. No, I love this because I feel like the buildup is stressing me out, and then you give
I
me
feel
the
like
answer.
an elementary school would like hide it, so you could just like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I would always like when I would do it, I would put my arm over so they couldn't see.
Yes. It's like ha ha ha. I know when you don't. You probably didn't realize you were gonna listen to me spell colors so many times and
Oh, yeah.
sit in silence while I count. I can speed
It's
this part up.
I'm bad with numbers, so if somebody tried to talk to me while I was counting, it would be done. I'd be lost.
Okay. We have our MASH results. And for this, we have our book boyfriend is Jason. The career is a journalist.
Okay.
Kids, 1 kid. And the tropes is miscommunication trope. And he lives in a house. Our result.
Oh man, it could be
Did
worse.
I just write the book for you?
Yeah, I'm like, is this the sequel?
There you go. Yeah, exactly. You're welcome. I will send this to you for your writing purposes. No.
Thank you for the outline. Yes, super
There you go.
helpful.
All that work for you. Patty, thank you so much for playing that with me. Thank you again for coming on to She's All Books and chatting all things 27 and your next book that'll be coming out hopefully soon by the end of the
Hopefully
year.
in the fall, definitely by the end of the year.
Exactly. I really appreciate you coming on and entertaining me with these games. Before we sign off, I'll add where viewers can find you to the caption so they can quickly click and take the link to you. But do you mind telling readers some places that they can see you?
Yeah,
online?
I'm on Instagram mostly at Patty Lou, PATTYLOO _wrote_it. Patty Lou wrote it.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
I'm on TikTok under the same name, but honestly, I'm mostly using my Instagram. And then I have a website where if anybody wants a signed copy of 27, that's where you can find it. It's PL Hernandez.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I will, like I said, drop those links there. So please click and connect with Patty and definitely check out 27. All right. I will see you next time on She's All Books. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of She's All Books. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at She's All Books. If you're interested in appearing as a guest or partnership opportunities, please check out the links in the caption.